morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today we need to take a look at what's going on with Mega Evolution. Because right now we're getting ready for the release of Phantasmal Flames. Pre-releases carry on this weekend. We have got the actual proper release of the set coming out next weekend, or next Friday. But what does that mean about Mega Evolution? Where do we stand with Mega Evolution? What's going on with that set? Are we seeing the prices coming down as expected after release of a set? Is the hype for it still absolutely massive? That sounds like something we can have a chat about today. And we're going to have a chat about it today. So sit down, make yourself comfortable, grab yourselves a nice cold beverage, and let's have a chat about what is going on with Mega Evolution. And I think we need to start off at a sensible place with those gold cards, the fantastic gold cards that everybody loves. What's going on with them? Well, if we take a look at Mega Lucario, that started off as like a $575 card and jumped up to $715. The hype on release for that card was huge. Absolutely huge. And then it kind of crashed down. People got well excited for it. People thought it was the best thing since sliced bread, which to be fair is pretty great. And then people went, well, actually, you know what? I think maybe we need to bring it down again. And it's dropped down to like $515, just a teensy bit lower than it was initially. Well, like $60 lower to be fair than it was initially. But either way, this is pretty relevant. Are we seeing the same thing with Gardevoir? Short answer, yes. Started off at about 500, jumped up to 610. On TCG Player right now, it's like a $380 card. Now, that seems too low. And honestly, you know, the sales, the listings right now are up around the 470 mark. So I do think this might be a couple of cheaper sales kind of pushing it down a little bit. But regardless, we are seeing this price jump up when people are like, whoa, these gold cards are awesome. And then going, well, actually, you know what? Maybe they're not quite as awesome as we might think they are. And I just got a little bit worried about TCG Player listing it as a $400-ish card. So I went and checked out eBay and actually found out that the last sale on eBay was $400. So actually, no, this is a $400 card. We have seen a pretty significant drop since release. I second guessed myself, but I go ahead and checked. And I went on eBay, and yeah, it's a $400 card. All right. So those gold cards have come down pretty fantastically. That's awesome. What about the big special illustration rares from the set? What about the Lucario and Gardevoir special illustration rares? Well, if we start off having a look at Lucario, this is the one I did not pull. We had the silly pre-sale prices of $370, and we can't really trust the silly pre-sale prices. But we basically started off at like $275, went up to just over $300, and we're now down at $255. So pretty much exactly like we saw from the gold cards, we went up a little bit on release. The hype got pretty big. People realized that the hype getting that big was maybe a little bit overblown and actually maybe we shouldn't. And then the price has come down to a more sensible level. And to be clear, $250 for a special illustration rare is still very high, but nothing compared to, you know, what we saw some of the silly prices on release. What about in terms of Gardevoir, which is the other really big one in terms of special illustration rares? And this is the one that I did pull, bit less dramatic. After the crazy pre-sale, we started off at about $300, jumped up to like $330, and now it's down to $240. I should be sad that it's falling, but I'm not actually going to sell mine, so it doesn't actually matter what the value is. It's actually on display in my studio right now. It's kind of sitting looking at me. It's a beautiful card, but there's no way I'm getting rid of it, so yeah, it's kind of going down quite nicely. What we're seeing with these big 4 cards in the set, little jump up on release, hype dies down, everyone realizes the hype is going down, and we kind of, carry on with our lives. What about the one that I really want to be picking up? What about that Akira Igawa Mega Latias? Well, the city pre-sale was $240. On release, it was nearer to like $190. It's now dropped below $145. Still very expensive, especially for what is actually the 4th biggest special illustration rare in the set. But it's coming down quite nicely. We're not seeing what we've seen from some sets recently where prices go up and down and they're a little bit all over the place and we don't know what's going on. We're actually seeing from Mega Revolution that the set is coming down quite nicely. I told you about the Mega Absol the other day. Came a couple of weeks ago and I told you this is one of the cards which is going up. And part of the reason it's going up is because of this new Mega Absol Mega Kangaskhan deck, which is actually seeing a bunch of play and success. And just this past weekend, Ryuki Okada won Brisbane Regionals with this deck. Yeah, it's come back down again. It did go up, don't get me wrong. On release, it kind of dropped down to 90, jumped up to 105, and now it's almost back down to 90. Fluctuating a little bit up and down, but no, that card has not held its value. There was a little jump up when people realized that Mega Absol was a legit deck, but it didn't last very long. It's come back down again. Now, I told you Mega Latias was the number 4 special illustration rare, but I skipped over to number 3, so let's have a look at that. It is Venusaur, and look at this graph. It is doing exactly what the others did. Actually went up from the pre-sale price to about $230-ish, and has since dropped down to $175. This is a set which is now coming down nicely. I think part of the reason for this may well be that Phantasmal Flames is coming pretty hot on the heels of this set. It's coming pretty soon after. And what that means is there's a lot of people that got really excited about Mega Evolution, pumped up the prices of these cards, and then went, ooh, Phantasmal Flames, that's a new shiny set. And then just jumped off over to there because there's something newer and shinier. The other really relevant special illustration rare here is Lily's Determination. Started off at about 200, it's already down to 123. I have told you guys time and again, special illustration rare supporters in the West do not hold value. And do remember that. I told you just a couple of days ago, I gave you my warning to stay away from singles for Phantasmal Flames. It's way too early. Do not buy them. And one of the things I told you was that Dawn right now is way too expensive. And special illustration rare supporters do not hold their value. Here is one more example of it. Here is one more example of exactly what I've been telling you guys about. These cards don't hold value. The special illustration rare supporters, they just don't. And now we got a new example here with Lily's Determination, the later special illustration rare supporter that people thought were going to hold its value and actually didn't. How about some of the bigger illustration rares from the set? How about Ivysaur, which is one of the big ones because it's got that connecting artwork? Yeah, it's dropping in price. The crazy pre-sale was $65. On release, it was nearer to $35, and now it's down at like $23. Sometimes I come on here and I go, look, some of these cards are going down, but here's an exception. Some of them are going up, but here's an exception. Sometimes I say, look, some are going up, some are going down. It's all over the place. I am not telling you that with this set. What I am telling you about with Mega Evolution at this point in time is it's just coming down. The set as a whole, and I've given you a bunch of examples. I'm not telling you that there isn't some random card out there that is kind of creeping up. I'll be honest, I've not looked at every single card in the set. There's a lot of them. What I am telling you is that across the board as a whole, They are all going down. Marshadow was one of those illustration rares that the community as a whole tried to pump. And this does happen like every set. There's one or two illustration rares that the community really tries to make into a thing and push the price up. Marshadow was one of those. On release, it jumped up to $85. Which, to be fair, I told you at the time was dumb. Yeah, it's now a sub $25 card. I told you it wasn't going to hold its value. And look, I came here the other day and I said, when the set released, I said, don't buy Mega Revolution singles. I said, it's way too high. Prices will come down. Now, I'm not telling you they're as low as they're going to get. There's probably room for them to keep going down for now. But I am coming along and saying, oh, look what happened. The prices are coming down very nicely, as we all knew that they would. And that's kind of lovely. We got Phantasmal Flames coming soon. It is way too early to buy those cards, as I've told you. But Mega Revolution, oh, these cards are coming down, ladies and gentlemen. These cards are coming down nicely. But I told you about all of this now, so now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about all of this. Tell me which cards you pulled. Tell me which cards you've sold. Tell me which cards you bought. Tell me which cards you're waiting for go down a little bit more. Go nuts in the comment section, but be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. And get shoutouts on the channel like the lovely Derek, who's been a supporter of ours for a long time now and seems to be a very lovely person. So shout out to them for the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing is always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.